The eye of the Cyclones. Will Renba be waiting for us here, in the center of the storm? That's a good question.
The hopper fired, and for a moment I was gone. Not aboard the Nightingale, not on the moon beneath. It could have been a heartbeat or an hour. But I didn't feel the cold until I reappeared.
A pile of rocks, mistress, smashed together by the waters. It seems Janiki had a taste for places like this. I wonder why. Perhaps he did not like people. This way, then. I hope he'll be pleased to see us. Do you think we'll find him? I prefer to believe that we will. Surely even you wish that too. Perhaps Renba's waiting for us just around this corner. We can hop her in back to the Nightingale, and this chapter of my life will be done. Perhaps, mistress, perhaps. We can only hope. Don't like your optimism there, Renba. Hold it. 6. What's that?
Here, in the middle of the hurricane, there was a house.
An adobe house.
It was fine. Tucked in below the overhanging rock. Wooden beams, mud brick walls, shutters. Large enough for 2 families to argue over. It would have been measly on Iox and grand on Elbereth. But here, it was impossible.
Someone built this? Buildings do not occur naturally, mistress. I don't appreciate your sarcasm. How did Janiki find it? I hope we can ask him, mistress. So, are robots capable of hope? Certainly. We calculate odds, of course. But even the most unlikely outcomes must always eventually occur. Hope is a mathematical certainty. I like that. The mathematics does not care whether you like it or not, mistress. Gee. Blocked with rubble and ruin. This whole place must be slowly peeling away from the cliff. Perhaps you might forgo going inside. I could vault over the wall here. Please, mistress. The floor beyond would only give way beneath you. The floor looks like stone to me, 6, so it is heavy and more likely to fall. Do you see any other way in? No, neither do I. Maybe that's what happened to Renba. He fell through a hole in the floor. Some kind of structure. There's a plinth inside. It looks like a shrine. It might help me date this place. Figure out what it's supposed to be. Here goes. The floor seems sound enough. 6. Where did the robot go? Look at this place, Aaliyah. No one would live here. They couldn't. Is that smoke? That is definitely smoke. Oh, Renba. That's your ship, isn't it? I keep wanting to smash the pots because that's just...
The ghosts were still here. Cooking, reading, doing whatever ghosts do. The house was empty. But it hadn't been abandoned.
Why build something as big as this, out here? Who was it for? Let's Let's see what's up here. Ruin and rubble. There's something wedged here. A page from a book. It looks like it dates from the Ioxian Empire. The margin has been marked, too. Pilgrims follow my book. That will do for now. Presumably there used to be more to it than that. We already know about this period, which will make it easier to find the originating site. What's this? It's quite different than the rest of the building. For some kind of telescope? But the position and bearings are fixed. The material on this is totally wrong. Is it metal? It looks like something Oroi might have built. I must remember to ask her about it. And there are scratches in the top here. Something fitted inside the frame, and it was removed by force. Did you take something, Janiki? But if so, what was the stand meant to hold? The telescope, maybe? There's something over there. I can't make it out. Looks like wreckage. That confirms it, surely. Renba! Please hear me, Renba. Please be here. Well, there's still more to poke around, so let's do that. Just don't look down, Aaliyah. Let's start in this room. I'd better go and find where 6 got to. In a minute! You have to explore all the ruins. Otherwise you're not going to pick up enough pieces of language to make something. That's a closed door. Locked. Or blocked. Or both. Yes, I do believe that's the room filled with rubble. Mistress. Evidently it is good to see you intact, mistress. How did you get down from that arch? I could not climb over the wall, so I drove myself off the cliff edge. Once I had dug myself out of the sand, I found a door. And are you in one piece? Evidently, mistress. I saw something from the roof. It looked like wreckage. From a ship. Mistress, are you saying you climbed up onto the roof of this place? You've missed the point of what I said, 6. The point is, Janiki's ship is probably in pieces out there. There's an inscription up here. Water goddess blesses fire. Water goddess from Maersi. Is this place directly connected to Maersi then? We didn't see any shrine houses on Maersi like the one here. Not even small ones. An older custom, perhaps. Ajax does not permit shrines, mistress. Ajax would no doubt remove the Maersi statue, if they could work out how to shift it. Perhaps. Or perhaps even Ajax does not meddle with a goddess of water, when she watches over a prosperous farm. I wonder what makes farmers ship the whole tree trunks out here, to build a mansion in the middle of a hurricane. Someone curled up here by the fire to keep warm. Someone died here, mistress. You're sure? The evidence is minor, but significant. A person lay on the floor here for some time after death. Renba? No. Whoever died here died scores of years ago. The lack of moisture on this moon has preserved the traces, but they are old. So where are the bones? The person who lay in state here was only removed recently. Are you saying Janiki took them? What remained of them Someone did. Interesting. That's horrid. Why would he do that? I am unsure, mistress. Something must have led him to this place. There must have been something here that he needed. That's even more horrid. Yes. Yes, it is. Want to look at this? A fire poker. Let's steal it. Not my most interesting find. Still, you never know when you might need an iron poker. This looks interesting. Beautifully made. Much nicer than everything else here. I estimate it to be hollow, mistress. There's something inscribed on the lid. Might be a clue as to what's inside. Does winds of great force work? I think it's a reliquary. A place to put your belongings when you die. The idea is you get them back when you return. Do people often return from death, mistress? The Great Loop says everyone returns from death, so long as their soul gets back to the rivers. And what do you believe, mistress? Nobody knows the history of the nebula. If everyone who dies comes back, why don't they know? Perhaps you require more evidence. Let's see if I can shift it. Curses. I can't even get my fingers under the lid. I might be able to snap the lock. Mistress, is it moving? It's definitely shifting. Here goes, then. Let's see.
And there it was, just lying there. The greatest treasure I ever found.
6. Look at this.
From inside the coffer, from the distant past of the nebula's once great empire.
Incredible.
It was a crown.
The eagle and sun motif. Just like Janiki's brooch. The mark of the Empire. Could this be the crown of Iox itself? What's this crown doing out here? Was this a seat of power in the Empire? This place? It doesn't seem possible. There's something written along the rim. I don't know. Jewel of Empire shines bright of sun. But the lost crown of the Empire, that went missing along with the last emperor after the fall of Iox. Could it really be? Ugh, jeez, thought my fingers got crushed. Is this crown what Miari wanted us to find? Is this why she sent us out here looking? Renba too, perhaps. Mistress, I will have to tell her, mistress. Her motives hardly matter. A workbench. Whoever lived here would have needed to be self-sufficient. They would have needed water, mistress. The building won't actually cave in on us, will it? I cannot guarantee that, mistress. It was made by farmers. Interesting.
After the dead air of the house, it was good to see the sky again.
You have collected 2 interesting artifacts here, the page and the crown. I'm sure Huang will want to catalogue them for you. I suggest we take the crown to Professor Miari directly. We must also inform her of our theories about Renba. May I activate the hopper, mistress? Not just yet. There must be more to this place. I want to know who lived here. Who died here? And what happened to Renba? What is a hopper anyway? A short-distance teleporter, mistress. There's something carved above the door. Light from night. Do you think Shiniki found the crown, Six? I do not think that coffer has been open in at least 500 years, mistress, but he must have known it was here. Why else come? Perhaps Shiniki took something else with him, before whatever happened to him happened. Then the other item is most likely lost. There's an inscription here. Light of day? There can't have ever been much light here. Not in all this fog. But what is this place? A mansion? Why build a mansion here? There's nothing here. Is this channel natural? I don't think it is. Dug out. There must be a wellspring here. A feeble one. One that requires every drop to be used. You just fell off that? It is not so far, mistress. Water would have run down the channel, right past the house. Imagine having a stream of your own. Not a bad way to live, if you can withstand the soul-crushing loneliness. Someone lived out here. They irrigated the land, prayed, here, in the eye of the Cyclones. Some kind of hermit? Probably the last emperor, if I had to guess. There's something carved into the rock here. Treasure trove of carvings. Life from water, perhaps. Does life from water make sense? So, who lived here, and why? Someone hiding from something. It is certainly a lonely spot. That's the shrine, assuming it's not an outhouse. The shrine was built here. Is the stone inside from Maercy? No, mistress. I do not know where it is from, but Maercy does not have stone like that. Ooh, moon in the ghost wake. Interesting. There's another inscription. I could still change my mind, but emperors are eternal. Emperors? Here. What were emperors doing out here? According to legend, the last emperor disappeared after Ajax fell. He didn't die there with everyone else. Are you suggesting he came here? Why not? It would explain a few things. Not least that crown. Alright, let's go have a look-see at this wreckage. By all the moons and waters. It's a ship. I mean, it was a ship. Can we be sure this was Janiki's ship? No, mistress. But the circumstantial evidence is very strong. Did someone blast it from the sky? Really, mistress? That seems speculative, to say the least. What could do that? Eagles are supposed to breathe fire, aren't they? There are no eagles, mistress, as you well know. Obviously it exploded on attempting to rise from the surface, mistress. The mangled pieces rained down at high velocity, ricocheted, and buried themselves into the dust. In short, I am surprised there is anything left. Janiki. Most likely not. Renba didn't hop her down. He landed his boat. Tried to. Or else he wasn't able to return. There are traces of an explosive propellant, mistress. I suspect Master Renba attempted to detonate himself off the surface of the moon. I wonder why Renba didn't use a hopper to get down here. Landing his ship must have been almost impossible. Was he a devout believer in the loop, perhaps? The loopists believe that hoppering is like throwing oneself onto a river. It is intended for the dead. It removes part of the soul. Renba lost more than a part of his soul down here. Indeed, mistress. Blackened. Presumably the ship was still burning as it fell. This was the hull. It must have been an explosion, mistress. Enough to be seen on Maersi. And Janiki? Mistress, there is no hope. Janiki must have been sailing when it fell. He cannot possibly have survived. The fire here must have burnt up a lot of air. The remaining atmosphere is thin, mistress. Still, I believe the fire was extinguished before it consumed the whole ship. So what do we do now? Return to Iox and inform Professor Miari, mistress. I suppose. I always assumed we would find Renba. I assumed, I don't know, that he was expecting us somewhere. Perhaps you can take the matter up with Renba in his next life, mistress. Poor Miari. I'm sure she was hoping we'd find him. Is there a way down? There might be more clues down there. I do not believe it would be wise, mistress. Indeed, I believe it would be quite the opposite. Fine. That looks probably like a way down. Ooh, no, something under the wood. Find the something under the wood again. Ah, there. Can your tracks handle this kind of terrain, Six? Excellently. Whoever designed my tracks appears to have had this kind of ground in mind. And who did design you? I have no idea, mistress. They did not leave a signature. That's ominous. Seems strange that you don't know. Does it? Who designed your legs? I don't know. But all this uneven ground. They weren't designed for it. There's something wedged under here. It seems to have survived the fire. Please, please don't be an arm. It's not an arm. It's scratched effigy fashioned from copper. I think it dates from the earliest Empire period. This must have been aboard Janiki's ship. Another of his finds. The ancient gods still had some presence in Empire times then, and given the material, it must have been a devotional icon. It can't have been worth much. And here's the inscription on it. Gods know paths? That will do for now. I could see what Huang thinks when I get back to Iox. That comes from the same side as the telescope and the rudder piece that we discovered on the site of Renba's cache. It must have been common to travel between the two locations. It must have burned for days. What do we tell Yari? The truth, surely, mistress. Janiki is gone. What I can't figure out is this. What was Renba doing finding ancient sites? He must have been following some kind of trail, mistress. But how that trail began, and where it was leading him, most unclear. Perhaps he was looking for more robots. Iox must be running low, especially since they keep giving them to you. Hardy har har har. Mistress, exactly how many robots have you lost? They just keep giving me more. I've never understood Professor Miari. You know, she brought me to Iox from an orphanage on Elbereth. And now she keeps giving me robots when I keep losing them. I really don't know what she gets out of it. Perhaps she likes to be kind, mistress. Miari? Kind? Have you met her? She's strong. She's principled. She's organized. She's fair. She's as kind as a thunderstorm. Pardon me as I walk over to these rocks. This channel comes up from the rock. The wellspring must be down there somewhere. The spring is dead now, mistress, and you are breathing the last air this moon has to offer. Janiki is not here, mistress. Neither is anyone else. Are you ready to go now, mistress? We still have more to do here. And by more to do, I mean I'm going to do one more pass, and then get on board my ship. There was a tripod up on the roof. Empty now. But it looks like it might have held something once. What kind of something? I would guess... a telescope. This must have been some kind of outpost observatory. An interesting theory, mistress, but I cannot imagine what they wanted to observe. There's nothing we can do here, Six. Nothing at all. Ooh, but I can walk over here now, which I did not do before. And there's a cave. A stone pedestal with someone in it. It's Gabenia from Maersi. The site was linked to Maersi then. That's somehow how Renba found it. This should tell us a little more about this place. And there's some drawn tiny glyphs on it. I can barely make the letters out, they're so tiny. Goddess bless you? I think that's correct. The shrine itself is made of stone, but it's not the same stone as the moon itself. Is it as old as the building? The outer structure is, certainly, but the stone pillar, no. The buildings here are significantly older than the pillar. Brought by a later occupant, then. Moving it to this moon must have been difficult. An important ritual object. Evidently, it is significantly more valuable than the goddess we found within. Fascinating. What, pray tell, is back here? It'll be dark in there. But I want to go look. It doesn't look that dark. Fine. Obviously, the building is at least 700 years old. And it's intact. Away from the rivers, there is little to disturb the stones. I have been observing the rate of weathering on them. Extrapolating, this building is older than the founding of the Holy Empire on Iox. You know, Six, back on Iox, they say nothing is older than the Empire. That the Empire, and the Fall, are all it has ever been. If Iox does not believe in history, what is it they think you do? Iox believes in the loop. They believe what has happened will happen again. They think I'm out discovering the future. Six, what do you know about the Loop Temple? I know little of the loop, mistress. The loop priests claim that life is a great cycle. They believe that all that happens has happened before. Literally happened? Do they think we've had this conversation before? I believe that is the idea, mistress. Is it true? The probability of it is incalculable, mistress. There is no meaningful data. The Loop Temple is extremely well placed, mistress. They have a lot of money and significant power. They are the heart of the Protectorate. Which would imply that they are by some means corrupt. Probably. Mistress, you may not realize, but the Loop Temple are my owners. But you're owned by the university. By Miari. Yes, mistress, indeed. How does that work? Take us back to the ship, 6. Stand by, mistress. That does not look...
Darkness.
Yeah. This is not the Nightingale. 6. I hate robots. Hate them. They always do this kind of thing. Right before they give you the speech about how it was for your own good. Mistress, you were about to step on a small ant. My ethical core required that I locked you inside this packing crate. It's cold in here. I know where I am. 6? There you are. Where's your head? Miari. 6, is everything alright? You followed me, Lexi? As I thought you might. Because you knew. Because you've always known. Of course I came. You laid a trial for me, so here I am. Renba. You are quite alone, Miari. And I have seen the truth of your lie. You are not what you claim. I know this, Miari. You asked me to look, and I found so much. And who do I say I am? You say you are the highest of the high, she who knows the people. But you are nothing. I know it. I'm not Professor Miari. Then she has sent someone else. She would not face me. And what I thought was true is true. Understand this. Lexi Miari is not who she says she is. Renba? You're a robot? I'm sure someone would have told me that. There isn't time. I found something. Something that matters more than me. Tell Lexi, there is a great darkness, an all-consuming, hungry darkness, and it is coming. Tell me what you know. There is an ancient place, an observatory. It is watching, and it holds the wires of our fate in its claws. An observatory. I will find it before the vault is lost. The robots know, but they don't remember. Someone long ago made certain they would not remember. Renba, how do I help you? You have my apologies, mistress? I do not understand the question. 6? Yes, mistress. I observe we are not back on the Nightingale. There must be something wrong with the hopper. I will look into it. This way, mistress. You don't remember how we ended up in here? Hoppers can misfire due to imperfections, mistress. The eye aboard your ship is quite old. And no one called you just now. Evidently not, mistress. I was talking to Renba. Just now, through you. Mistress, Master Renba is dead. Interesting. Although, given Hoppers require line of sight to a Hopper eye, I cannot see how we ended up at this spot. It's a process of refraction, no doubt. There's light this way. I see where we are now. Although, I still don't see how we got in there. We have attained one more processing artifact here, the scratch deficit. Look, we have found evidence of 2 new locations of interest. Are you ready to go? You think it'll work properly now? I thought it would work last time, but I do not see much alternative. Be ready, mistress. And so we left the surface of the ruined Hermitage moon near Maercy, with new leads for 2 previously unknown sites. Interesting. Aboard the Nightingale. We should sail to Iox and tell Miari what we've seen, and I'm sure she wants to see the crown. Do I have to? I'm not really sure I trust her, as it turns out. But just look at this thing. The workmanship is beautiful. Evidently, it is more than a simple crown, mistress. It's a symbol. This was Iox's power, lost after the fall. To regain it would be a sign that Iox was once more than the center of the nebula. More than that, mistress. I believe the metal is a casement for a mechanism of some kind. Does it open? Not in any way I can see, but if it does contain a mechanism, I would expect a method by which it might be serviced. My friend Roy on Elbreth might be able to help. We should be able to open it up and take a look at it safely. The occupants of Elbreth are hardly trustworthy. I'm from Elbreth. I will bear that in mind. She looks at home here. She's the goddess from Maercy, isn't she? It's beautiful enough, but that doesn't explain what Renba was doing with it. The actual crown of the Empire. I think so, anyway. Can't look at the brooch, but it's there. Look out there. It seems to go on forever. Mistress? What are the rivers, Six? Flows of oxygen, hydrogen, ice. Their velocity keeps them coherent. It's like they're going somewhere. The rivers. But they never do go anywhere. They just cycle around and around. The robe Janiki hid. I wonder if we'll ever know what was so special about this robe. I'm gonna rest, Six. Very good, mistress. I believe I can handle the ship. To Elbereth, perhaps? To Elbereth. Yes, mistress. Because I'm very sure I don't trust Miari anymore. And, yeah, let's go see our friend.